Spring is an important word. If you live in the snow and the cold of the Northeast or the Midwest, across America and a lot of states, spring is a magical word. But in Coral Gables, Florida, not necessarily a magical word. Spring is just spring. It's nice weather, just like it is all the time. But once you attach the term football to spring, then it means something completely different. In South Florida, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, Miami Hurricanes live. My apologies. We may have had a disconnect with Cam Underwood from State of the U, unfortunately. So, again, it's unfortunate here. We may have had a miscommunication. So, number one, I apologize for being late, but I've been waiting for Cam. We must have had a miscommunication there. I believed we were set for a Miami live stream at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So, again, my apologies for that, but I will be happy to talk college football with you and talk Miami football in particular with all of you. And hopefully Cam will be able to stop by and join us with about 16 on the line right now. Okay, let's get to your comments. And again, I was all set and fired up for a Miami live stream with the second day of spring practice on Tuesday. Phil B starts off our Miami live stream by saying, "Go Noles." Boom shakalaka. Guess we go with that. Lewis, thank you so much for that. And Hurricane Logan. Whoo! So again, we will do our best tonight to talk of Miami football and answer your comments and your questions there in the live chat. Much apologies out there to everyone who joined me last night. What a debacle we had last night, because I had a live stream call-in show scheduled for 6 p.m. Eastern time, and my phone just stopped having service just a few minutes before the live call-in show, and I need the phone to activate the phone system, and I couldn't do that. And they put me on hold for 3 hours. I couldn't get through to the phone company for 3 hours. And so we had to cancel our call-in show and just comment to you in the live chat, and kind of ruin the call-in show. Well, I completely canceled the call-in show, and we just had a live chat with all of you. So that was last night, and unfortunately we couldn't go forth. And then bit of a miscommunication apparently tonight. Hopefully everything's good with Cam, but miscommunication tonight on our live stream. Daniel, good to see you. Jobo as well. Yo. Phil B's in South Florida as well. Demetrius Abrams. I'm doing all right, Demetrius. Hopefully you are as well. Appreciate you. DJ Smith, go Bucks. Tell Cam to do some push-ups. Tell Cam to do some push-ups. All right. I've been doing some push-ups. I've gotten back into a push-up routine myself recently. All right. We know that the NCAA basketball tournament is here. It's starting, I believe, tonight. There are games with the first 4 going at it, and you Miami basketball fans are left out because your team was so horrible this year. But the nation's going to be caught up in March Madness over the next several weeks, and our friend NCIS Fanatic 21 has been kind enough to start a Voice of College Football ESPN Tournament Challenge bracket. So I'm in there. I believe Lewis is in there. We got NCIS Fanatic 21. A couple other people have signed up. This just started this afternoon. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. So there's the link right there. It's right in the comment section. I also left a link on the community page of our channel. So if you go to the YouTube channel and go to the front page, click on the community channel. I hope everyone knows where that is, because I leave a lot of messages there and notifications of the schedule for the day. But I left the link there as well. So either in the live chat here with NCIS Fanatic 21, the link he has left, or again, just go to the community page on the YouTube channel. Grab the link, have a good time, fill out the bracket, and beat me up, and I'm sure everyone will completely destroy me. Although my strategy was pretty simple, pretty basic on this one. Councilman Jam, Alabama has a storm coming their way opening day. Okay, we've got a good feeling about that. Again, NCI's Fanatic 21 has been kind enough to start our Voice of College Football Tournament Challenge. The link is right there. Yes, Mark, I apologize. We've had a number of issues involving the call-in shows recently. Then we ironed it out once we got the audio board all set up and we were all good to go for a long time. But yeah, a bit of a rough ride last night. Unfortunately, for once, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my mistake. It was the phone company. All right, we got Dominic's here. Got the Rod Farva. Good to see everyone. I was not set up here for a call-in show tonight because we were going to talk Miami football with Cam Underwood from State of the U. Chuck C. Hi, Mark. Got lucky to catch the call. By the way, Miami was obliterated by injuries to start the year in basketball. Okay, 6-man rotation most of the year. Coach L should have gotten Coach of the Year. Okay. Can't necessarily comment on that, especially since I don't even know who Coach L is. I'm trying to think of the last Miami basketball coach I would know. Can't think of his name. I cannot think of his name. The last I've known pretty much the last Miami coach and then the ones before that, but I can't come up with his name. There was the old guy, and then there was the Rod Farva. Yeah, the phone company really screwed me on that one. That is the second time in about 2 to 3 months that my phone is just shut off and the phone company had to reset. Not really reset the phone. It's an iPhone, but they had to reset something. The Rod Farva says Gavin Wimsett, crystal ball to Rutgers, would be a huge miss by Kentucky if he went to Rutgers. Yeah, we talked to Kevin McGuffey last week about Wimsett out of Kentucky. That would be quite the get for Rutgers to go into Kentucky and grab the number one player out of the state. Oh, yeah. There's the name. Yep. Mark, you made me go. Yes, I remember that name. I would have gotten it on a multiple choice, Hurricane Logan, but I definitely would not have been able to come up with that name. But on a multiple choice, yes, I recognize Laranga, if that's how you pronounce his last name. And then the coach before that was a black guy, but I don't remember much about him. My awareness of college basketball has gone to zero. And from about the late 70s, 1980, up until about 2005, something in that range, it wasn't college football level, but it was pretty high. Yeah, Kentucky, Rod, could use a real good quarterback. They've got the offensive line. They've got the running backs. They could use wide receivers. They could use a quarterback. They've got a really good defense. Quarterback, wide receivers. Quarterback most of all. Joey Gatewood would most likely be the starter for this year, the Auburn transfer. With only 18 on the line, I believe people had a feeling that we disconnected tonight. Matthew Campbell, hello, everyone. Hello, Mark. We've released a ton of videos recently on spring practice, of course, with a lot of position previews. Florida State and Miami included. Ohio State and Michigan. And Mississippi State and Ole Miss, Alabama, Auburn, LSU, of course, Texas. We We recorded Texas and USC this afternoon. What is the over-under that Rutgers recruiting ranking is going to be at number 12? That's a great start for Greg Schiano this year, but certainly not going to hold. I would be stunned. Well, I don't know if Rutgers has bagmen. I know that they've actually got talent in that state. They actually do have some good talent in the state of New Jersey for football. So Greg Schiano's got a good reputation. He did it once. He built a good program there once. Mark's letting us know that Ohio State could rotate a couple quarterbacks if no one stands out, I guess he's saying, in spring ball. Jermaine Jackson. Let's not go back to 1996. 7 and 8. That went on for 3 years. No, that went on for 2 years. I can't believe, looking back, that went on for 2 years. That went on for 2 years. Jermaine was the passer, Jackson the runner. Ohio State lost a game to Michigan, of course, 13-9 down the stretch, the last game of the season to blow a national championship bid in 96. Even though they almost won it, they still finished number 2. And then in 97, they were still messing around with 2 quarterbacks and lost to Michigan in 97 with another shot at winning the national championship. Although Nebraska still would have won the national championship, Ohio State had a shot as a one-loss team. College Football Addict is asking my favorite 2021 recruit. My favorite recruit? They're just names. They are just names at this point. I've been asked and have explained this a few times that they're just names. I've not seen them play. I just see recruiting rankings and hometowns and height and weight. I haven't watched them. I don't watch high school football. It just doesn't necessarily, I don't want to say it doesn't interest me. I could, if somebody forced me to watch a high school football game tonight, sure, I'd watch it, be okay. But I'm not watching high school football, and I'm certainly not trying to scout high school football players. So until they hit the college campus and show up for spring practice and start playing at that level, I have no favorite recruits. If you're asking like a favorite recruit because I saw him play and thought he was amazing, saw the highlight reel, I've not seen, other than what we've shown on our Florida State show the last couple of weeks with high school recruits, I've not seen any of that. Rod Farva talking about Xavier Worthy, who was a prized recruit, of course, plucking away Worthy from Alabama. It looked like he was going to go play for Nick Saban. Matthew Campbell, I feel like the receivers at Ohio State will carry the quarterbacks until they are experienced. I think Ohio State has a talent advantage and has the advantage in the Big Ten and against Oregon to be able to not be a great team and to be able to gel over the course of 9, 10, 11, 12 games. They could make it through a regular season in which they're not prepared to play the likes of Alabama and Clemson and Oklahoma possibly, and still be prepared if they are able to develop and gel and mature over the course of 12 games, having not been ready or prepared to play on that kind of stage for 10 or 12 games to be ready for a Big Ten championship game and hit the playoffs. I'm just saying it's possible that they could develop into the team, into arguably the best team in the country by the end of the season, but still be good enough, even when they're not even close to being the best team in the country, games 1 through 10 or 11 or 12, because of the talent gap, to still win those games. meaning Ohio State could win a bunch of one-score games against Indiana and Penn State and Oregon, and they don't really play anyone good in the Big Ten Western Division. They've got Nebraska, Purdue, and they do play Iowa. They've got the Iowa game at home. That's going to be tricky. Iowa at home, Penn State at home, Oregon at home, Nebraska on the road. But until Nebraska shows us something, we can't necessarily be too concerned with Nebraska. So again, Ohio State might start the season as the 10th or 12th best team in the country just because of inexperience, but be able to play their way to a playoff anyway. And then be prepared to be a major factor in the playoff. I'm not talking about showing up in the playoff and still being the 10th or 12th best team in the country and getting smacked around. So that could happen. Teams are different. Many teams are different. They're just different teams in December than they were in September. The Rod Favre is letting us know that the NCAA Oversight Committee is exploring the idea of allowing programs to do in-person evaluations of recruits on campuses this summer, per Pete Thamel. I read that article as well today, and the dead period was extended, of course, for the 8th time. The dead period was extended through May 31st, and it appears as though if these reports, they are true reports, but if they come to fruition, it's just being discussed at this point and exploring the idea, as Rod tells us, that they would go into what they consider, as explained there in Rod's quote, the quiet period, where there would still be the ability to interact face-to-face and have, again, in-person evaluations of recruits on campuses starting on June 1st. And I think that needs to get done. That needs to get done. We have college campuses open to students, to 20, 30, 50,000 students. Why can't we bring a player or two, a high school football recruit, on campus to be shown around properly and not make it dependent on them to show up on their own dime, and just walk around campus and try to figure things out? And then, of course, if they don't have the financial resources combined with being too far away, then they have to cross that. They either have to take the chance of choosing that school, that program, without that firsthand visit, or what happens? They cross that school off their list. I think it's gotten to the just point of ridiculousness with all the other activity on college campuses. And don't get me started on the COVID numbers. Many of them are valid, others are not. Chuck C., thank you so much, Chuck, for the Super Chat contribution. We know you should know that we appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. Haven't caught any live shows in a few weeks, Mark, so thanks for posting. I see most of those posted. Agree with you on the recruits. Also depend on how that 4- and 5-star fits with given team. Oh, absolutely. This is what we have to consider with recruiting. Point number one is just sheer talent. How talented is the particular player? That's what the star ranking is telling us. That player is that talented, and they've also had to perform to a certain level and show us something on tape. Number two would be, is that particular player still reaching a potential? So no high school football player has reached their potential, but there are players that have played 4 years of high school football and are moving into the collegiate ranks as an 18-year-old, and their ceilings like this. Nobody's maxed out their ceiling as an 18-year-old football player, but many of them have developed, have trained, and they look like grown men, and their ceilings like this. And they can learn quite a bit and continue to develop their skills at the collegiate level, but their ceilings like this. There are others, their ceilings like they haven't even started, they haven't even come close to reaching their potential as high school seniors. And consider most of them are committing as high school juniors. So the coaches haven't even seen their senior year of football. All right. On top of that, we go to what Chuck is talking about. In addition to the current productivity and talent, the potential, the ceiling, number 2. And then number 3, I would go to exactly what Chuck's talking about, the fit. The style of quarterback for your particular offense, the style of defensive players that you want to use, especially at certain positions like linebacker that fit your defense. Corners, edge rushers, left tackles, running backs for the most part, they pretty much fit any offense. You need great cover corners in any style of defense. You need edge rushers in any style of defense. You need now the defensive tackle position, depending on your style of defense. We certainly see teams across college football that have traditional just masses in the middle of the defense that can't be moved, that just tie up blockers and just push the pocket and push the blocking scheme. But then some other teams like to be very creative with their ends and their tackles, where they're almost can be juxtaposed. And they have ends that can play tackle and tackles that can play end. And they stand guys up now. You'll see some, it's not very often, but you'll see defensive formations where they stand the defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman up. I think the fit has mostly to do with quarterback and linebackers, safeties to a certain extent. Everybody needs wide receivers. There's nobody running an offense that doesn't need different types of wide receivers. It's good to have a variety. It's good to have your very polished wide receivers who turn out to be the number 1 guy, the very top end talent guy that combines that with great hands, of course, and skill set. Then there are a lot of teams that have a burner, a guy that's just, maybe he's not a great route runner. His hands are decent. He's a burner. He's the guy that catches 2 passes a game for 82 yards. And then, of course, your classic Hunter Renfrow, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Wes Welker, slot guy. Adam Humphries, slot guy that is quicker than fast and can find the hole in the defense. And then once he catches that 4-yard, just quick turnaround curl, is able to just jitterbug and find a crease and gain yardage and just pick up zillions of first downs. Of course, again, Hunter Renfrow on the collegiate level is the poster child. Did not drop a pass for 2 seasons. Caught a game-winning touchdown pass, of course, in the national championship game. The year before, gave Alabama fits with all those NFL secondary players with 2 touchdown receptions. That might be what Miami's missing in its offense, would be that slot guy, a true slot guy. So yeah, talent / productivity at number 1. Number 2 would be ceiling. Number 3, the fit to the offense or defense. Number 4 would be the intelligence of the player. Emotional intelligence, actual intelligence, coachability, their attitude, all the intangibles. Although intelligence is a tangible, can be measured component. But add that to the recruiting checklist. Is the student athlete coachable? Do they have a great attitude? Are they determined? And depending on their position, are they nasty? There's a certain amount of nastiness should come with every position, but especially if he's going to play certain positions. Is he nasty? Just flat out, he could be a saint off the field, but when he steps on the field, is he going to just flat out take over a game, be an alpha dog, have that kind of attitude, never give up, never give in, never be intimidated by a person or a situation? And then I'm going to go to our next stop on the checklist of recruiting and development would be development. How good is the coaching staff at developing the players? Wisconsin would seem to be on the high end. They bring in a glut of 3 stars and have recruited top 25 to 35 classes and turned them into top 10 to 15 teams. So the development is high. They probably play more underclassmen than they used to, but they're still on the lower end of playing underclassmen because they develop. They take diamonds in the rough and develop them. Texas takes top 5 recruiting classes and turns them into top 40 teams. That's a lack of development. So good comment there, Chuck C. Appreciate that. Yeah, Hurricane Logan, if you can pair me up with Tabardine. I don't know if he knows the answers. He definitely can predict scores and remind us that Manny Diaz is the best coach in college football. Matthew says it doesn't matter what rating the recruit has. The only thing that matters is if they succeed on the field or not, period. Well, that's true ultimately, yes. But the rating is a huge indicator as to whether they will succeed. Go to any recruiting class. Go to any recruiting class. Okay? Take all the 5 stars and then just look at the names and see what happened to them. Did they succeed? Did they fail? Did they bust? Did they turn into a superstar, an impact player? What? Give it a rating. Give it like 5s, a superstar, and 4s, a all-conference player, and on down the list. And go through the 5 stars, go through the 4 stars, make the comparison. The 5 stars will outperform the 4 stars. Now, you're going to have more examples of great 4-star players than 5-star players. The reason why is because there's a ton more. So every year there's only about 35 5-star players, but there's about, if you look at any of the major sites, top 300 players, they're still in the 4-star range when you hit player number 300. So there are typically about 400, 450 4-star players. So that first 35, roughly 30 to 40 are 5 stars, and then the next 400 plus are 4 stars. So there's going to be more 4 stars that succeeded than 5 stars, but that's based on, but not a higher percentage. There's always going to be a higher percentage of 5 stars that succeed than 4 stars, and a higher percentage of 4 stars that succeed than 3 stars. So, Matthew, I understand your point, but the rating does matter. In bulk, it matters. For any particular player, does it matter? We have to wait and see. But in bulk, it does. Go to the recruiting rankings from the past 5 years, look at the rankings, and then look at the final AP poll every year. Hey, Dennis, good to see you. College Football Addict. That's how every conference outside the SEC is, and arguably the Pac-12, but they're trash. One team has such a clear advantage over the field. That's a good point. It's valid. Every conference, excluding the SEC, with the exception of some years in which Alabama just emerges clearly as the best team, that Ohio State owns the Big Ten and Oklahoma the Big 12 and Clemson the ACC. Although I would say out of those three conferences, the Big Ten has certainly had the strongest second tier. Not necessarily last year, but year to year. The second tier of Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, Iowa, Minnesota in 2019 is stronger than the other two that we're talking about. The Rod Favre talking about running back Donovan Edwards out of Michigan. Definitely a great player. OSU wanted him. My concern is Michigan's bad run blocking the last 2 years, and that probably will continue this year. I'm actually looking at 3 different Michigan videos that I took notes on this afternoon. Oh, wow. I forgot to actually post that video as well. So I guess I got 4 Michigan videos that I'm going to be posting here soon. Michigan 5 impact newcomers. And I included Donovan Edwards in that as the number 3 running back in the nation, number 2 player out of Michigan, number 41 player, regardless of position. That's high. Who is the last dominant Michigan running back? It's got to be Mike Hart, right? Mike Hart, whose last season was in 2007. Since then, Fitz Toussaint, Karan Higdon, and a few others who were decent, were good backs. Karan Higdon had 2 2,000-yard seasons, but they were top 25 backs in the nation, not top 5 running backs in the nation. I'd say Mike Hart is the last Michigan running back to be dominant. So Donovan Edwards will probably will try to be that next guy. Alan True, who is the recruiting analyst for the Big Ten Network, likens Donovan Edwards to Alvin Kamara. That doesn't necessarily mean he says that Donovan Edwards is going to turn out to be as good as Alvin Kamara, but that he's comparable in his running style and his pass catching ability. College Football Addict. It's kind of funny that despite some high 4 and 5 stars, the 3 stars are the best players on Michigan's team. Kwity Paye, Hassan Haskins beat out high 4-star Zach Charbonnet. Ronnie Bell outplayed 5-star Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's a great point. I don't necessarily know if that holds up on defense for the most part. Their best players have been the higher end guys, but great point. Mark, COVID rules, don't try to figure them out. Your head's going to hurt. Gold and blue dude, Alabama's Alabama, but people giving Alabama that first game is just nonsense. Miami has one of their best teams coming back next year. Well, I'm not giving anyone a game, but I would be shocked. Shocked might be a little strong. I would be severely surprised if Miami won that game. Alabama, like Ohio State, should be a much better team in December than they were in September because they're going to be loaded. Of course, they're loaded with the best talent in the country. They do have the best roster. Ohio State's there, but Alabama's got an edge over Ohio State. I posted a video close to the national championship game that gave a pretty good metric on that slight edge that Alabama's got on Ohio State, but they lose all that productivity. So Alabama's going to come out of the gate a little, maybe I shouldn't say it because it's Alabama. I was going to say a little rusty, but they're 3 touchdowns better than Miami. Even if they mess around for a half and have to get Bryce Young and those receivers in sync. They do have a redshirt freshman starting quarterback, not a true freshman. He's been in the system. He knows the playbook. He should, and he's been on campus for a long time. SEC dog, the U, like a big flush of the commode. After week 3, Miami fan will be ready to flush Manny Diaz. It's Alabama out of the gate, and it's actually a pretty difficult non-conference schedule overall with Appalachian State and Michigan State. Two teams Miami should beat fairly easily, but are still capable. The Rod says Donovan Peoples-Jones, Braylon Edwards, incredible talents, horrible hands. Yes, Braylon Edwards dropped so many passes in the NFL, but he had big numbers. Would make highlight reel catches, drop routine passes. Hurricane Logan, and after week 1, Georgia fans will be ready to flush Kirby. Which reminds me, I've got to post my top 10 non-conference games of 2021. SEC dog, Miami fan going to be big mad after starting 1-2 this year. Manny Diaz head will be on Miami Herald, a Sunday morning newspaper. That 1-2 again. I guess that's a loss to App State. Golden Blue Dude, Charleston Rambo, 25 catches last year, 43 the year before. I read a scouting report on Charleston Rambo, and the concerns were that Lincoln Riley schemed up the defense so well that Charleston Rambo rarely had to fight for the football. I don't know if that's true. I've seen Charleston Rambo play a ton of football, but I wasn't focusing on Charleston Rambo. I wasn't doing a scouting report on Charleston Rambo, but I've seen Oklahoma play. I see their 6 or 7 best games of the year. And I read an interesting analysis of Charleston Rambo's 2 years at Oklahoma, in which, again, he caught 68 passes in 2 years. That he ran most of his patterns down the seam, down the middle of the field, didn't go to the sideline much for the 50-50 ball. College football addict. Mark, did you notice that Michigan has been recruiting taller pass catchers? I've not noticed that. I noticed that Michigan has been recruiting taller defensive backs. So is Oklahoma. We've done some recent recruiting videos on Oklahoma, and they have been recruiting rather tall defensive backs. Rod Favre, a crazy stat. In the last 10 years, Alabama's had 21 unanimous All-Americans. The next highest is Ohio State with 7. I saw that stat on Twitter the other day. Those are unanimous All-Americans, and I don't know how many services that includes. I would think that Ohio State and a few others would be much closer if you just said who's received an All-American selection somewhere. How many times did Army pass the ball this past season? Just look that up. I'd be curious. I'm going to say they went, I believe Army went 9-3, correct? I think they went 9-3. I think they played 12 games. I'm going to say that Army threw in 12 games. I'm going to say that they threw 80. I'm going to say they threw 89 passes, Army, last year. Dante Turner, Marshall Few is who Mark is describing. 6 foot, 185, very similar to Hunter. Okay. The Rod Favre, Wisconsin is playing Army in week 6 or 7. They're insane. It does seem very counterproductive. So if I was the head coach at a major power like a Wisconsin, I would like to schedule Army in theory in regards to honoring the military, giving them full respect, actually teaching my players that week about the military, about what those student athletes in the military have to go through that's so much different than the experience that they have to go through. But from a football standpoint, it just seems counterproductive. Everybody runs such similar offensive schemes now that the defense can build upon its knowledge week to week throughout the season and get the valuable game experience looking at various offenses that are very similar. RPOs, shotgun spread formation, multiple wide receivers, all of that. Very similar. So you're giving your defensive players valuable reps in games and then preparing for those games. You completely break that up by all of a sudden we're playing Army. And you probably actually have to give that a little bit of time in August. All right. I wanted to see, I was curious. I was guessing, I believe, 89 passes out of Army this year. Well, they played 12 games. Yeah, I went with like 89 passes. Army threw. They had, first of all, 6 different players throw passes, and I'm guessing anywhere from 3 to 4 of them were halfbacks that threw halfback option passes or wide receivers. Christian Anderson went 20 for 47. That's 42%. Jamel Jones, 9 for 19, 47%. Anyway, they threw 66, 74, 75, 70, 76 passes in 12 games. So there you go. This is the kind of information, the kind of breakdown you get here at the Voice of College Football. Army threw 76 passes last year in 12 games. I guessed 89. I was a shade high. Okay. Golden Blue Dude, not 20. 76. So. SEC Dog. Slight exaggeration here. Just a slight exaggeration. Of course, calling Miami the Vanderbilt at the ACC. David Knight, you guys be cool. I feel like I'm in middle school when I come in here. David, clean things up. I know it's an oxymoron when I tell all of you to bring the trash talk, because then I say, but it needs to be respectful. Is trash talk really respectful? I understand the oxymoron that I'm delivering there, but I'm basically saying don't call each other names and stick to football and just have fun. Nothing personal. Golden Blue Dude. Army once, this would have been in 2017 against Ohio State, actually ate up an entire quarter minus maybe a play or two. They went on a 14-minute and 52-second drive, something like that. They went 99 yards for their only touchdown of the game, their only score of the game. They lost 38-7, but that one drive, they ate up the entire quarter. Mr. HD, this chat is always something every time I log on. I hope that is a positive, Mr. HD. I somehow believe that it's probably not. And again, everyone that's tuning in for Miami Hurricanes Live, my apologies. That was the intent. And we must have had a miscommunication with Cam Underwood from State of the U. Hopefully we can have him back sometime this week. So I am your humble host here. Golden Blue Dude, Mark Rogers brings the heat when I've got a reason to bring the heat, I will bring the heat. Yes. Some people don't think, some people get on here and they watch me for about 3 months and think I'm just being me. So I'm pretty mild mannered most of the time, but when it needs to be brought, I bring it. So, College Football Addict, I will let you know and everybody else that those 4 new Michigan videos are on the Michigan channel. They're not yet on the Michigan channel, but they will be placed on the Michigan channel. So, everybody that's on the line right now, 45 and then hopefully thousands to come on the replay. I will let you all know that please, if you either love Michigan football or are just interested in Michigan football, so there's a difference there. You could hate Michigan or not care about Michigan, but you want to just keep up with all the major, clear my throat, powers in college football. Or number 3, you just want to help us build the voice of college football and understand that we need your support. If you're in one of those 3 categories, then please check out our Michigan channel and please subscribe. We are almost to the magical 1,000 subscriber mark. That is key. That is key. We need as many channels to get to 1,000 subscribers as possible. So Michigan's close. Oregon is close, but it's stalled. And I need to get some content on the Oregon channel. Florida State's driving hard. Nebraska's doing well, but they're still hundreds away. So we need to get all those channels up to 1,000. So please help me there. If you want to know where to find the channels, you either go to the front page of my YouTube channel, and I've got all the channels listed there, or you just look up Voice of College Football Michigan, Voice of College Football Nebraska, Voice of College Football Florida State. So again, that's Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Nebraska, Wisconsin out of the Big Ten. We've got Oklahoma and Texas out of the Big 12. Out of the Pac-12, USC and Oregon. Out of the SEC, we've got an SEC channel. And then we have individual team channels for Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida. And then out of the ACC, we've got Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, and Notre Dame. Yes, Ty Isaac. Whatever happened to him? He just did not turn out, did he? Ty Isaac, yeah. Went to USC, Michigan. I do not remember him really doing much of anything. 2013 to 17. Here are his numbers. 2013 with USC, ran for 236 yards, 5.9 per carry. Then he went to Michigan in 2015. 205 yards, 6.8 per carry. The next year in 2016, of course, Michigan's big run to a showdown with Ohio State, in which they were a top 3 team in the nation going into the last game of the season, lost on the measurement, and then overtime. 417 yards, 5.6 per carry, 5 touchdowns. And then in his final year with Amazing Blue, 548 on the ground, 6.2 per carry. So he averaged 6.1 yards per carry for his career, Ty Isaac. But he only ran the ball, 30 to 90 times per year, 232 carries in his career. Again, 1,406 yards, 6.1 per carry, 10 touchdowns in his career. Ty Isaac. By the way, Golden Blue Dude says, I want to thank Miami for proving my point about Dana Holgorsen killing my Mountaineers in that bowl game. He needed to go that year. And he did. Well, that was in 2016, right? Miami beat West Virginia pretty easily. 34-16, something like that. Beast Mode wants Greg Russo in Philly. Moonbot is here. Orange and green blood. What's good, Mark? Good to see you, sir. Good to see you, orange and green blood. I apologize for the miscommunication tonight on our Miami live stream, but hope that you just want to stick around for some college football talk. Any time you can just say we're talking college football tonight, and you're dropping names like Ty Isaac and Donovan Edwards and Adam Humphreys and Hunter Renfrow. Who else have we talked about? Rush Probst. This is an honor, or it should be an insult. I don't know which, but I would love to have Rush Probst on the show. So, Rush Probst, I don't know why Coach Smart is mad at you either. I was just having a casual, honest conversation. Yes, Rod. He's been a fine gentleman. Golden Blue Dude likes Georgia, Oklahoma, Clemson, Alabama. Playoff picks. 2 from the SEC. Chuck C. Mark, I agree with you on the Bama matchup. 42-21 sounds about right given the variables. I'm more optimistic this year about the Miami offensive line, so maybe Bama won't play D in the backfield. I think that's a good assessment. Thank you, Rod, for looking that up before I got to it. SEC Dog, who is Ohio State's quarterback going to be this year? And are y'all allowed to have spring practice? Yes, there's spring practice, but they are backing up. Excuse me. There was a pause to football activities, but it shouldn't affect what they're doing. And we're going to hear more from our boys on the Ohio State scene here tomorrow, Wednesday, 2:00 Eastern time. Ryan Day is going to address the media sometime late morning, like 11:30, 11:45. So join our Ohio State show at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and you'll get the rundown of Ryan Day's news conference. The Rod Favre, I love the stats. Love the stats. 35 for 76, which is not bad for Army, completing almost 50% of its passes. 35 for 76. Lenny the Gump Summers is here. Always need to make an announcement on that. Alfred the Savage, Miami live stream, strike 2. Strike 2? Strike 2? Well, if it is strike 2, we've posted 128 of them. So I think we're doing pretty well. Rod, thanks for picking up SEC Dog's question. I just think it's a 3-man race. I'm not going to call anything on this, but Rod's saying CJ Stroud is the leading candidate, but don't sleep on true freshman Kyle McCord. So far, the spring game is 50-50, waiting on the governor to lift the COVID restrictions, which should happen. Yeah, I am going to. There are certain aspects of the spring game that you can come up with something on. I go trying to get the phone. I threw it over there because it's not part of the. This has to be a regular here who knows the old call-in number. So this is going to have to be. Oh, they hung up. I was going to take their call. Okay. All right. Thought we had a caller. Not that I was doing a call-in show. And again, I would have done a call-in show if I didn't think we were going to have our Miami show tonight. I would have done a call-in show. So tomorrow, we're live 3 times. 2:00 Eastern, Ohio State live. 6:00 Eastern, Florida State live. 8:00 Eastern, call-in show. So SEC dog. Let's all play 2 games and be in the college football playoff. In my opinion, they should have made an example out of Ohio State. Not saying y'all suck as a team, but that was ridiculous in my opinion. Okay. So I don't think there's any question that Ohio State was one of the 4 best teams in the country, but I do understand and I do think it's valid what SEC Dog says about there being a certain number of games, that it is valid and understandable that it could be held against Ohio State, for example, for playing just 6 games while other teams played 12. But where do you make that determination? Where do you make that delineation? Because I will finish the point here in just a second. All right. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Oh my God, Mark! You know what happened?
It, of course, had to be you, George. I just about.
I'm always 5 minutes behind because every time I make a comment in the chat, it slows my live feed down 5 seconds, right? So by the time I called and we didn't connect, I saw that 5 minutes later. Anyway, it's very complicated. It's just an algorithm. God damn it.
So, George, you're the one who was most adamant that I convert to the new phone number and get completely off the old phone number, but you're calling me on the old phone number.
I did not ever advocate for that, but when you did it, I thought that was a good idea because Tennessee Roadshow always had a good system. You know, I thought you were on that system, and
I am on that system.
It fell apart.
It didn't fall. When did it fall apart?
The last, huh?
When did it fall apart?
Why am I not talking to you on that other phone number right now, Mark?
Because I'm not doing a call-in show.
Oh.
We were doing.
Are you serious?
Well, we were doing Miami Hurricanes live, and we must have had some kind of miscommunication. Our guest did not show up, so I was not prepared to do a call-in show.
Oh, right. I understand that. So I have a suggestion. Don't ever do a live show if it's not a call-in. That would just upset the general populace.
I do it all the time.
Like you're live and we can't call in?
I do an Ohio State show every week.
What's the point? What's the
Whoa,
point?
whoa.
I don't get it.
I do an Ohio State show, a Florida State show, a Miami show every week where nobody's calling in.
Miami and Ohio State?
Miami, Ohio State, and Florida State. Every week we do a live stream.
Oh, yeah. It's called the Big Loser Show.
Sure.
Of course. Teams like that will put up with it, but big brand names, we want live call-in shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not like those other teams.
We will be having our call-in show tomorrow night, George.
All right.
I would have done it tonight, but we were supposed to have a Miami show.
Is this the number from now on, or should we use your other number?
Use the other number.
All right. Well, can we educate people about this while we have them on the line? Like, explain to people why your new phone number is your new phone number, please. And
okay.
I'll hang up and I'll listen.
Okay.
All right.
All right, George. Thank you. Okay. All right. Per George's instructions, George is now producing the show. So there is an old number that I won't repeat to confuse anyone, but an old number that went through my cell phone, and I signed up with an application called Phone Burner. So you would call the number. That was not my personal number, nor did I see your number. It's protected, but you would call that number. It would go through my cell phone. Okay. My man Bobby at Volunteer Roadshow hooked us up with this platform called Call In Studio, where I could then implement a professional audio board that I can't completely show you because of the wiring, but an audio board that will eventually be able to do all sorts of things with sound effects and music and everything else. But for right now, that I could do the call-in show through the board. Okay. and a phone service that if you've called the show in recent weeks, you know that you've been able to be put on hold, be able to listen to the show. You don't have to call back. You're put on hold. It's a more professional system, and it also sounds much better. So it's a better system. That number off the top of my head is 860-499-3332. You don't need to know that right now. We will, of course, be on the line with you for our call-in show Wednesday night at 8. Okay. Hopefully George is happy with me. Yeah, Aaron, I believe, Bama just would have destroyed anybody in the national championship game. I am right there with you on that. I do believe that Ohio State was much closer to Alabama than anyone else. I think there were a couple things working against Ohio State in that game. One being that they lost players, Alabama lost players. So for the Ohio State fans that thought only Ohio State lost key players, let's understand that Alabama was missing key players as well. But Trey Sermon, Wyatt Davis, your best offensive lineman midway through the second quarter when it was still a game. Trey Sermon, best running back on the team. And here are the two big factors in this game that I thought really made it more lopsided than it should have been for two teams of that caliber. One is that Alabama was so remarkably skilled at wide receiver, and Ohio State's secondary was the worst secondary that they fielded since, I am serious, like the late 80s. The worst Ohio State secondary in 30 plus years. Now, part of that was because they lost players before the season and during the season. Ohio State should be dramatically better in the secondary. I don't know if it's going to be vintage Ohio State of 4 or 5 years ago in the secondary, but they should be much better. Number one. Number two, I just think Nick Saban and his coaching staff gave Ryan Day a lesson. And Ryan Day is a remarkable coach, and he has much success ahead of him, and he probably learned a lot from the experience. But that team went out against Clemson on fire, and I just don't know that they recovered strategically or mentally or physically to play the next game, because they haven't been through that. They have not been through the having to go through a superior opponent, not superior opponent, an elite opponent, and then have to turn around 8 to 9 days later and play again. So Alabama was the best team in the country, decidedly. Yeah. That's the bottom line. But I think that, yeah, Ryan Day, I'm expecting that he learned a lot from that experience. It's almost like similar to what Bill Belichick did to Sean McVay in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Sean McVay is a mastermind on offense. He's brilliant. He's great. He knows what he's doing, but he just had never been to the game, and it showed in that Super Bowl matchup. So NCIS Fanatic 21 had left a link in the description, or not, I'm so used to saying the description section. He left a link in the live chat of our NCAA basketball bracket. And you may say, the voice of college football is going to talk about basketball? No, not really, but I thought it'd be fun. Well, I don't want to take credit for this. NCIS Fanatic 21 thought it would be fun to put together an NCAA bracket for everyone, and we've got a league going. So just go to ESPN.com, go to the link, and if NCIS Fanatic 21 is still in the live chat, it would be great if he dropped the link again, and you go to the Voice of College Football bracket challenge group. And we've got about 5 people there. I've filled out my bracket. Bet you can't guess who I predicted and picked to go to and win the national championship. I am way behind, but I got to catch up with this super chat here. Hurricane Logan, good to see you. Oh, yeah. I am patient with George for this very reason. George is an amazing supporter of the show. That's all there is to it. George just wants to build the channel. He is only adamant about that call-in situation because he wants this show to look good. He wants me to look good. He wants it to be right. So people are locked in and not turning away. And I felt horrible last night because my phone had that phone issue with the phone company just minutes before we went live, and I couldn't have a call-in show. So I ended up doing this, but it was after I let all of you hang for an hour and 15 minutes. Aaron, sure, Texas A&M may have beaten Ohio State. Certainly. I don't think they would have. Ohio State was better, but sure they could beat Ohio State. SEC Dog, great show as always. Mark Rogers. Now we have the voice of Florida football on the line. Ha ha ha. Big George, of course. George was fired up in here before he called. It's funny. We're just hours away from St. Patrick's Day. Bo Weevil's on the line. Good to see you. Hey, Lewis. Good to see you. Lewis, thank you so much. That's the first person I've seen tonight that has inspired others to hit the like button. Again, Hurricane Logan, thank you so much for the super chat. Chuck C as well. Hurricane Logan, good one. George, the voice of Mark Rogers. Moonbot 7, yes, I explained this week, and hopefully going forward, there should be no issues. The issue I had with the phone company last night, it has happened twice I got that phone system in, it's not a phone system, it's a carrier that if you watch my live show from last night, I ripped on and I felt bad about later. I called them incompetent and pathetic and whatever else, but they did put me on hold for almost 3 hours. But that's happened twice where they said they had to reset my phone plan because it's telling me that my balance is low. And I'm like, well, I don't really have a balance. It pays automatically. I pay whatever I need to pay. When I set up the phone plan, I said, there is no way that this is ever going to, I have unlimited data, voice, everything. Yeah. Aaron and others, in regards to Texas A&M, we talked about this the other day on College Football Coast to Coast with Pigskin Pete, and I thought it turned into a pretty good conversation regarding, I saw an article on ESPN.com that said, who will be the next Clemson? Meaning Alabama's Alabama, Ohio State's Ohio State, they're gold standards, okay? But Clemson went from being a top 20, 25 program in the country, whether that be at the time that Dabo Swinney took over in his first few years, and even prior to that for decades, and I don't mean every specific year, they did win a national championship, but generally were a top 20 to 25 program. and then made it to the top of college football. The last two programs that have made that kind of an ascension from, actually, these two programs did it coming from way down at the bottom and rising to the very pinnacle of college football for an extended period of time, as Clemson has for the last, they've really been elite since 2015, but even before that, they were really good, top 10 good, going back to 2012. The two programs that were lifted from the bottom of the barrel to the very top, this came in the late 70s and early 80s. Those two, Florida State and Miami. That's the last time that's happened, what Clemson has done. And it was even more dramatic for those two. So who could be the next? So I'm not talking about Texas or USC just reclaiming their rightful spot. So Penn State is a difficult possibility there to argue because they, like USC and Texas, are blue bloods. And on the article was an ESPN insider. So me no longer being an ESPN insider doesn't have access. But they put James Franklin's picture on this article that said, who's going to be the next Clemson? But I don't necessarily consider Penn State to be in that category to where they would elevate. Here's the team that I came up with. The team that you guys are all talking about right now, especially Aaron Short, Texas A&M. Isn't Texas A&M what Clemson was? I'm not talking about the 2020 Texas A&M team. I'm talking about what they've been. 7-5, 8-4, 8-4, 7-5, 7-5, 8-4, 9-3, 6-6, 7-5, 8-4, 8-4. Yes, forever. Go to Texas A&M's season by season win-loss record. 7-5, 7-5, 8-4, 8-4. Forever. Of course, there have been other records, but right on that line. Last conference championship, 1998, 23 years ago. Last conference championship game. Well, they won a couple conferences before that, before the Big 12, when they were in the Southwest Conference and played Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl back-to-back years in 92, 93. Anyway, Texas A&M. Big-time coach in Jimbo Fisher. A football crazy state and institution. Huge fan base. Tons of money. Recruiting hotbed, Texas. Facilities, everything you would want. Texas A&M. They could be the next Clemson. That was my candidate. Lenny believes that Texas A&M was better than Ohio State. The last time Texas A&M was better than Ohio State. The last time Texas A&M was better than Ohio State. The last time Texas A&M was better than Ohio State, maybe in the early 90s for a couple of years. Maybe. Yeah, those Texas A&M teams in like 92, 93, although Ohio State was just about as good as they were. I don't know when the last time Texas A&M was better than Ohio State. I know you mean 2020, but they weren't. Dominic wants to talk about Canes spring practice with me. Dominic may have some insider type information. Dominic, you can call me tomorrow night. Ryan Day is overrated. Clemson, Alabama would be a great game. Sure, usually is. Moonbot7 is Ohio State fell off since Urban left? No, not at all. Okay, let me get back to the point I was making. This reminds me, King Aladdin's comment reminds me of the point I was making before our man George called. Okay. I believe Ohio State was one of the 4 best teams in the country. Okay. I believe most college football fans, nations, and people that understand the sport and watch the sport and know the sport believe that they were one of the 4 best teams in the country. I do understand, and I think it's a valid point and a valid argument for those people that say they did not play enough games. They played 6 games. Other teams played 11. Alabama was at 11 games before the playoff. So these other teams had played 11 games. These other teams, 11 games, and Ohio State, 6. I get that. Okay. But as soon as somebody like Jimbo Fisher complained about Ohio State, my response was, your team only played 9 games. So while you look down on Ohio State for only having played 6 games, while you played 9 games, these other teams played 11 games. So you played 2 less than they did. Ohio State played 3 less than you. Is there really much of a difference? You're looking down on a team and saying they should be excluded for having played only 6 games when your team played 9 games. Why couldn't teams like Notre Dame, Clemson, and Alabama look down on Texas A&M and say, we don't think you should be considered because you only played 9 games. We played 11 games. Right? There's no magic number. Oh, everybody should have played 8 games. Everybody should have played 10 games. No, because you could have had, if you would have said 10 games is the magic number, first of all, who's going to agree on that? Why 10 games? Why 8 games? Whatever the number. Number 2, as soon as you say that, okay, 10 games is the mark. Well, you could have the most dominant team in the nation only play 9 games and they'd be 9-0. And a bunch of 9-1 teams made the playoffs and they went 9-0 and were more dominant. No, it was a combination of assessing the number of games played and the quality of those games, the dominance of those games, and the quality of the team. And that's what happened here. Ohio State did not play nearly as many games as the other teams, but they were undefeated. They beat 2 top 12 teams in the nation. And they just simply had a better resume than Texas A&M and Notre Dame. But again, I do validate the argument that you could say didn't deserve to go, didn't play enough games. I get it. Hurricane Logan shot you a text, bud, to see if we can actually talk the title of the video. Well, I am responding to the comments in the live chat. So that's what we're talking. We I don't know if you caught the beginning, Hurricane Logan. Must have had some kind of miscommunication with Cam Underwood, State of the U. I thought we had set up a 7 p.m. Eastern time. Let's see if he's gotten back to me. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we just had a miscommunication. We'll call it that. And Cam's amazing. And of course, he's the best. And I believe we're going to be able to bring you a Miami Hurricanes live on Thursday with Cam. We do have one scheduled in the afternoon with the Wholesome one at 4, but stay tuned for a notification on a Miami Hurricanes live show Thursday night with Cam. He did get back to me, and we know from the last, 6 to 7 years now, Cam's amazing in bringing Miami Hurricane talk. So we know that you're sorely disappointed, but we'll be back on Thursday. But Hurricane Logan, thank you so much for the Super Chat contribution. I will talk as much Miami football as people leave comments in the live stream. Moonbot7, Penn State will play spoiler this year and keep a Big Ten team out of the playoff, which would be Ohio State, most likely. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised, even though I gave a scenario in which Ohio State, because of the talent gap, could work with and develop a young team throughout the season and still have enough to win the games and then peak late. The other scenario of others would be that Ohio State would get tripped up a couple times, most notably by Penn State or in Iowa during the regular season, Indiana, and maybe lose a game or two, still win the Big Ten championship, but not make the playoff. Aaron Short, kind of, Mark. Jimbo's got them moving in the right direction. Absolutely, he does. Absolutely. I think Texas A&M, that's why I made the statement that I believe that they are, not that they are the next Clemson. I'm not making that proclamation. I'm saying that they would be my choice. They're my prediction to be the next Clemson. I'm talking about, again, not Texas or USC, not that caliber of program just reclaiming an elite spot, but I'm talking about a program that has never been elite. That's the best way to put it. A program that has never been elite that makes it to an elite status. Okay, this is going to be our next poll. I used to send out Twitter polls all the time. Mike3883 has offered up our next what should be Twitter poll and on our YouTube channel. Who's crazier, George, Dan Mullen? Ronan came in late. We're talking Texas A&M. Mark needs Cam or Wholesome here to keep him on track. I let you guys produce the show. Good to see you, Ronan. George sizing up college football right there, of course. Alabama definitely number 2 after Florida. Absolutely. And if this is George, you know that. Whoa. You know that I don't know how long this phone call is going to last because it's a one phone call quota. MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Hey, Mark, it's George. I have a question.
Yes, sir. You're getting a lot of airtime tonight. This is 2 calls,
yes,
and I'm talking about you a lot. Okay.
Right, but I'm starting to feel highly nostalgic about this whole thing. Like, is this my last time to call you on this phone number? Are we moving on?
We hope it is. We hope it is. Yes, we hope it is. We believe so. Yes.
All right. I can erase this number, but I got to make sure we're done. We're moving on.
I hope we weren't going to be doing a call-in show tonight because we had the Miami show lined up, and therefore I wasn't prepared to do a call-in show with the new number. Seems to me we had this conversation.
I just don't understand why you can't keep both numbers just in case, something goes wrong on the other number.
You're right. I do have this number.
Right.
I need a super chat contribution to keep this number going. It costs me like $6 a month through Apple.
Right. This should be a backup number for me and Navy Thomas,
Okay, sure. Yeah, you are the two that know it. So exactly.
I just don't understand why you haven't had 15 callers on this number tonight. I don't get it.
Because people don't necessarily have the number. I've not promoted the number. I'm trying to get rid of the number, or based on your suggestion, keep it as a backup. And
Of course. We don't mind calling two different numbers and see which one works.
oh, come on, George. You were saying the exact opposite a couple of weeks ago.
No, I was saying I'm glad you went with Bobby, but because that's a good system, you can listen while you wait.
Yes. And you don't have to listen to the operator. Like the operator doesn't come over the video.
Right. And it gets to say who you are, what your name is. Pigskin Pete uses that same system.
I know, because Bobby set us both up.
I love it. Every time I call, I say, I've never touched Howard's Rock. That's always my statement I say. He goes, what do you mean you haven't touched Howard's Rock? I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. You can't make me touch Howard's Rock. That sounds kind of gay, doesn't it?
Oh, so Pigskin Pete's, well, yeah, it does have a little sexual connotation in there.
Right. His website's called Howard's Rock. I'm like, I can't go there. It sounds like it's a gay porno site or something.
Well,
they love me. They love me over there at Clemson. You might win every game, but I'll still find a reason to make fun of you. You know? Don't even get me started on Georgia. All right, Mark, let's get back to the important things. You're going to figure out a schedule where we can have 2 playoffs and a supplemental draft for the minor teams that play the offseason. Come on, man. Come on. You can do this. North Dakota State, San Jose State, Appalachian State. Yeah, I mean, you can figure this out. You might go down in infamy for the guy that brought 2 seasons into college football. 8 months to waste. You can squeeze it in. Squeeze it in there, Mark. You have 8 months to work.
I'm working on other things.
All right. So mainstream.
All right, George.
All right. Ask me a college football question because, it's all about college football.
Ask you a college football question? Well, your college football question... Right. Well, you have decided that Florida's 1 and Alabama's 2. I see that.
Right. Florida's going 15-0. First time ever in the history of Florida, Dan Mullen is going to be enshrined. It's fucking over. We just built a $200 million football facility. It's halfway done. Go down to Gainesville, drive down there, go in the parking lot, and look what we're building. You'll be like, what the? We're going for it. We're competing with Oregon now. They have palm trees, swimming pools, personal masseurs, barbershops, recording studios. I mean, what vegan food? What do you want? We have it. Gosh, I'm growling. I have blood dripping out of my fangs. Is that happening to you too?
No, not. I wasn't really keeping tabs on that. I think
that's one of my favorite jokes. That's one of my favorite jokes I ever made up. I have blood things. Do you like college football? I can't wait. Clemson versus who? Seriously? Georgia versus who? This is too good to be true. I can't wait till opening day.
We'll just have to wait. Playing? I want to enjoy my summer first. I'll do that first.
Oh, yeah, summer. Hey, listen, I have this taken care of, man. I'm gonna file the UCC one for you. I'm gonna get you an indigenous passport. We're gonna head to Panama, and we will watch this on satellite while the big boats go through the canal. We got to get out of here. We got to go south, man.
Someday.
All right.
Someday.
As soon as you get popular, hire me as your life coach, and we'll get out of here. We're going south.
George, the life coach.
Yes. It's a very personalized thing. It's not an open offering. I ask you if I can do it for you. You don't offer me to be your coach. You can tell already. I'm 60 years old. I only have so many hours to waste.
I'm also going to let everyone know that you would encourage everyone to grab the Amazon link in the description section to do your Amazon shopping.
I've told this to so many people, Mark. They don't understand. Everybody uses Amazon, right? At some point in your life, you will use it, right? But if they go to your website and they click on your Amazon link and then they buy whatever they buy, you get like $1. It's like a free donation, you know? Maybe not $1. If you buy a $10,000 generator, you might get $30, you know? Just depends.
I think it's like, I've never done the math because I don't know who buys what. I just get $23 for the month. This last month was a windfall at $23. So I don't know.
That's insane. That's crazy. If that's true, that's amazing. Wow.
So we hope to do a little bit better than that.
I'm just going to go buy something on Amazon on purpose now and click on your link. That's awesome. Some guy, I told you this in a video a while back, some guy made a video and he said he earned like $196,000 in 1 year because people clicked on his link. Isn't that crazy? He was probably a gang leader or something, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, if 3,000 people do that, you win, you know?
That's what we're hoping for. Get these people trained. All right. Okay, George.
It's been a great day. I'll see you later.
Call-in show tomorrow night on the new phone line with the new phone system. Okay.
Go Gators, go FSU, and go Miami. I'm a Florida man.
All right. George with 2 phone calls tonight. Plus, I've been talking about him for like 15 minutes. All right. SEC Dog. I wanted Mark Rogers to make a trash talk video before the Clemson game last year, but that's not his style. But that would have been awesome. I don't even know how to make a trash talk video. My trash talk videos basically are organic when people strike a nerve. When somebody strikes a nerve, typically because they don't know what they're talking about, or they've got some stupid playoff system that doesn't make sense, or they're trying to defend the BCS or something like that. That's when the trash talk out of me starts. And I don't even consider that trash talk. Cheryl's joined us. Good to see you, Cheryl. I don't know about that, Rod. I don't think I'm going to be on Michigan podcast for about 3 weeks if Michigan makes it through to the Final Four. All right, everyone. So one more time, you saw the title of the live stream tonight was Miami Hurricanes Live number 129, Spring Practice. My apologies. We had a miscommunication, but our man Cam Underwood, State of the U, will be back on Thursday night. So we're going to schedule a Hurricanes Live on Thursday night after a Thursday afternoon Hurricanes Live. So Miami fans, forgive me. I'll make it all up to you on Thursday with a 4 o'clock live stream and then sometime in prime time, Miami Hurricanes Live. On Wednesday, Ohio State at 2, Florida State at 6, the call-in show at 8 Eastern. And of course, you do shop Amazon at some point. Just about everybody at some point shopping Amazon. Please grab the link in the description section of any of the videos, put it somewhere where you'll remember it and find it. It's the same exact shopping experience. Doesn't cost you a penny. Just grab the link. You just enter the site through that link. Same deal. Shop Amazon. Help us build the channel. Our channel will continue to thrive based on your individual contributions. You can reach me on Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. All right. Also, if you want a face mask, you can get your favorite team face mask. Just go to voiceofcollegefootball.com. Go to voiceofcollegefootball.com and register for free. It's on the top of the site. On the menu bar at the top, go to register for free. And then I'll send you a coupon code. And then you get a free face mask of your favorite team. We have just about all the teams that I would think would be represented there. There's about 35 to 40 teams. So you can get a free face mask and 20% off your first purchase. Now, you don't have to purchase anything, but you do get 20% off your first purchase. And then you also get thrown into a drawing for a $25 gift card. Now, for those of you who have signed up for a face mask and have not received anything yet, please hold on tight. I've got a noon appointment on Wednesday at noon with a web designer. And he is going to figure out why I'm not receiving those emails to get you the coupon code. So Wednesday at noon, not that you need to know when my meetings are, but I will be online with a web designer tomorrow to get that worked out. So I'll be able to send you your coupon code. So please, and whether you want a face mask or not, again, another way to help us build the channel, voiceofcollegefootball.com. voiceofcollegefootball.com. Just register for free. It doesn't cost anything. That's what register for free means. It's not going to cost you anything. And then you can just look around the site and see what we've got there, which is basically going to be links to our channels as it stands right now. We hope to do more at some point. All right. So we got that. We also have Patreon. Voice of College Football community. Join us on Patreon. We've got watch parties during this season. We did 3 or 4 exclusive live streams. I'll probably do one this weekend. An insider look into the Voice of College Football and our predictions, which more to come on that. All right. And again, folks, if anybody out there owns a business and would like to sponsor us, believe me, it'll be extremely reasonable. And I don't know that there's more of a target audience than college football fans. So think about this. If you have a connection to a pizza shop in Tallahassee or Athens, Georgia, or Manhattan, Kansas, a college town, this would be the place to go. If you sell college football gear, perfect place to sponsor. So if you know of anyone who owns a business that could benefit from sponsoring here at the Voice of College Football, please contact me. Lewis, thanks for helping Steve Dace. You and him are very good together. I'm not necessarily helping him, but anyway, thanks for helping him off the ledge multiple times. Gotcha. Thank you, SEC Dog. Great to have you on, as always, and everybody else that joins us on a regular basis. The Rod Farva, George, Lenny the Gump, Lewis, Moonbot7, King Aladdin, Aaron Short. Good to see all of you here. SEC Dog, of course. Cheryl does an amazing job. Who do we have here down at the bottom? Addison Book. I apologize, Addison Book, if I am not remembering seeing your handle ever in the live chat, because look out. Going to give you the big wind up here, the big welcome. Addison Book, welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Would love to know who you root for and how long you've been watching. Lenny, thank you. We made something of tonight's show, but we will be back at 2, 6, and 8 tomorrow. Guess I'm going to hear from Hurricane Logan. Good stuff. Going to hear from him tonight, and I've got to talk to David Knight possibly about some gear. All right. I'm going to get to it because I am starved. Appreciate you jumping on the line. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 for Buckeyes Live.